today I'm kind of doing a lot of prep in the kitchen of breakfast, kind of lunch, brunchy kind of things you can do to have on hand so that it's there when you need it. And so I actually did a short of some, they were Dave's Done Right kind of English muffins, and I did those. I had bacon and fresh eggs, and I did that over the weekend and everyone loved it. My boys loved it. I have done like a play on the McGriddle using sourdough pancakes and sausage, and not that I wouldn't do that again. But on my way home from church on Sunday, I stopped. I come by this one little, and there's a little that y'all have seen I go to sometimes because I don't really have one close to me, but I pass it coming home from church. And so I ran in there and I got a few little things, and there's an organic grocer right there next to it. And I have been going in there to pick up a few things that they carry. I can get a quality milk and things from them at a very reasonable price. And so when I was in there on Sunday, I caught a couple of really great things that were on sale. And a lot of people won't even look at some of these smaller grocers, whether they're like an ethnic type grocer that kind of caters to one genre. But I'm telling you, a lot of times you can get a really good deal, or organic grocers, or health food stores, stuff like that. So I went into this place, and I have a couple things on the shelf I don't have up here to show you, but I was able to get a couple of like boxed tomato soups that still have a good date for a whole year, for the remainder of this year. And they were clearanced out at 50% off. And so I picked those up, and I picked up, they had a closeout on farm fresh sausage from a farm not far from us in Northwest Georgia. So I got one hot, one mild. They were essentially, I guess it became kind of like a buy one, get one, because it was half the price. And I scored some of these sprouted Ezekiel English muffins, and so I am making some more of these make ahead. I guess breakfast, lunch sausages, or sandwiches, except this time, last time I did bacon, so this time I'm doing sausage because I scored a good deal on it. And my point in all of that is that things are not cheap. When you go to the grocery store, things are pretty pricey, and the economy is pretty dicey. And so I really wanted to encourage you today. I need to get these off the heat. I really wanted to encourage you today with a couple of these little ideas that I'm going to show you. And also to encourage you with your food budget, your grocery budget. A lot of times that's the one part of our budget that we can find some give to, and that's kind of been taken away with the cost of everything. Now, you can still find ways to save. One way, like I said, are going to these kinds of places, or going to a grocer who will actually discount. Like if it's fixing to go out of date, they'll give you a pretty deep discount on certain things. Getting that home, processing it, freezing it, whether that means you're freezing it or you're canning it or you're cooking it, you know, or doing cook ahead meals or any of that kind of stuff, and then freezing it, however you're going to do it. That's a great way to go. But I think oftentimes people get in the mindset that you have to do this on such a large scale. You really can do a lot of this week to week. And I haven't seen a lot of people really talking about that. I see them more doing big batch cooking. And you're definitely going to get savings when you buy more in bulk, which I will show you. One of the things I made this morning, I already have a video on how to do this, but I made a huge container of my homemade granola. That was one of the things I did after I dropped my boy off at school. I came home, I got this done, and I can link that video. But I have been making granola and oatmeal bakes and refrigerator oatmeal, all those things let me show you, I bought back, I think it was in August, it was either July or August, a 25-pound bag of organic gluten-free oats from Asher Standard. I purchased that. I got a big bucket with a gamma lid, and for the oatmeal, or the oats, I spent $25 and some change. Did I say organic, and it was gluten-free, 25 pounds. And I still have probably about half of my 6-gallon container full of oats, plus my upstairs container, okay? So I use this in different ways to make food. So one of the ways you can save on your budget for food on the week to week is, yes, sometimes it is to buy certain things bulk. This was a good investment. That was a very good investment that has fed us very well. I've been through now 3 different months of pantry challenge. I did one in October, and then I just finished the 3 Rivers challenge, where I did January and February. And February I actually didn't get to do a whole too much with the oatmeal because I didn't have an oven for the majority of the month. So there are some things that you can find and you can buy in bulk that make a lot of sense. And if that might be one for you, then that would be a great choice. And then on the other things, it is buying what you need week to week. And if you catch a good deal on something, maybe putting a little bit back for, you know, a rainy day, or maybe when you can't get such a good deal like I did on the sausage. That was a great deal. And matter of fact, so I've got sausage in my pan here last night, because today, oh, happy Pie Day. It's March 14th. You might have been a homeschooler if you celebrate National Pie Day. We did. We always did. We would have some kind of pie. Pizza pie, cherry pie, rhubarb pie. You think about apple pie, any kind of pie. Chocolate pie. But anyway, happy Pie Day. But so last night, I made pizza. I made sourdough pizza. And because I got such a good deal on the sausage, I browned some up with some onion and some mushroom I had in my refrigerator. I shredded some of the mozzarella cheese I got from my Azure haul. And this was what was left of the pre-cooked and the shredded cheese, which I have just enough to make another recipe, which I'm going to show you in just a few minutes. And I still have more sausage that I'm going to cook up and freeze so that it's ready to go. If I had a little bit more, I would consider canning it, but I don't. I bought what they had, and that's going to be about it. I'm thinking about leaving some of it out because I think I'm going to do a lasagna later this week. So, and I'm thinking about putting the sausage in a lasagna to switch it up just a little bit. So you want to take items like that you find and think of, how can I use these things? How can I use these things to feed my family? And that really starts with learning how to cook. If you don't practice, you're never going to learn it, and you will lose it if you don't use it. I have heard many times as people get to different phases and stages of life, I've heard certain men make comments of, oh, she forgot how to cook, she's gotten spoiled, and I'm not saying that women are the only people who cook. There's just as many men who cook. I've raised my boys to cook, so I'm not saying that. I'm just saying this was something I have heard for many, many years. Matter of fact, I think the first place I heard it was when I worked at Senior Services, and it was a husband giving his wife a hard time. And so I think he was missing her old biscuits and gravy and things like that she used to cook, and now she didn't want to cook, and so they had gotten used to going out to places to eat and all that kind of stuff. And while that has its place, that's crazy expensive, and you can make your money go so much further. You can get better quality food, you can control what's going into your food, and you can make just as delicious or more delicious and more nutritious food at home. And so I just wanted to encourage you today, and don't feel like you have to get into this huge big thing, like it's got to be, I got a meal plan for a month, I got to cook for 2 weeks or for a month, I got to do 8 freezer meals or 16 freezer meals. No, you don't have to do any of that. You can go to the store week to week, but you want to go with a plan. And so to me, the best thing I can recommend you do is to go and assess your pantry. What do you have? What do you not have? Go assess your freezer. What do you have? What do you not have? And go and assess your refrigerator, because you may have things that got tucked away in certain places. Look and see at your condiments and all those things. And it is really important that you set up some kind of a schedule for when you're going to clean these things out, so that you know what you have and you're not buying the same thing when you already have some of these things and you just need to use them. That's going to save you a lot of money just by organizing like that. Getting a piece of notebook paper or a little notepad and writing things down. Again, I would go to the store. Lord, help me find all this organic, grass-fed, grass-finished, all these things. And he was faithful yet again. I would go somewhere and I would find whole chickens. Whole organic chickens, pasture-raised. And they would be at my Target. I don't know why, but Target was real big for a while on the organics and all that stuff. And nobody going to shop at Target were buying them, so they would deep discount them. I mean, I would walk out of there with whole chickens for probably organic chickens, pasture-raised chickens for $4. So I would fill my freezer. And I really started changing on how I was cooking. I didn't have to have certain cuts of chicken, and I started learning I can cut up a chicken. I can use a whole chicken, and then there's so many other things I can do with the rest of the chicken. No brainer. Same thing, you know, with the grass-fed beef and things like that. And so I started learning more about that, and I'd always kind of dabbled in farmers markets, but they were not huge. Like, we had the big state farmers market, but the local little markets with the small farmers coming in, bringing their stuff, that was just on the forefront. It was not really there yet. So we would go, and a lot of times it was crafty kind of things, or it was just stuff that they went to the state's farmers market, they bought the big boxes and they brought them. And I would buy it because it was still cheaper than what I could get in the store, and it was real food. And so I was thankful for it. I also gardened myself, but I could only summer garden, and my garden was not very big because I didn't have a lot of space where I had sunlight that I needed, and I also had heavy deer pressures. So that's kind of how I did it, and we got through. And my point in all of this is just to teach you that if you go in with a plan, you go in with a heart, if you're a believer, Lord, help me to be a good steward, to budget well, let me find those deals. He will. And then you have to come home and you have to execute it. And then that is something you're gonna have to figure out is gonna work for you and your personality. For me, doing a lot of things ahead of time, like prepping my meat when I come home, if I'm gonna marinate it, that's gonna be good for me. Might be good for you, because then I can, one night in the week, I can easily put it on the grill very quickly and have a quick dinner, or in the Instapot. Prepping my vegetables so that they're ready to go during that week. And that's why I said, if you kind of bring it in and you just think on the week to week, you're going to save money, you're going to save time, you're not going to waste so much, and you're going to be thankful that you did that. And then sometimes you're going to have times where maybe you caught a good deal and you have a little bit of time and you want to do these make ahead things that you can pop in the freezer, in the fridge, and have it ready to go. So I'm gonna quit talking now. We're gonna start cooking. So I did a short on how to put these together, but essentially you just take the English muffin. Now you could make one from scratch if you want, but I got this on sale. It's sprouted. This is a good quality product. I'm gonna put it in my toaster, toast them. When they come out, I'm gonna put a piece of sausage. I'm gonna fry up one of my girls' eggs, because I am egg rich right now. And I'm gonna wrap them up individually. I'll put some in the fridge. I'm gonna put some in the freezer. These could be good for up to a month in the freezer. The other thing, I already made my granola. It's over there. And one of the things that's great about granola is you could have that for breakfast. That can be a snack. It could be a dessert. Mine are liking to eat it with yogurt, with Greek yogurt. So even my kids, diabetic, this was a diabetic meal that was put together. So if you do more of the low carb, keto kind of thing, you might like this, but it is a muffin tin omelet. Now this one says to use broccoli, ham, and cheddar. Well, I don't have broccoli, ham, and cheddar. I have cheese, I have mozzarella, I have cooked sausage, mushroom, and onions. And John had picked up a big box of salad greens. And I'm gonna pick out some of the spinach, and I'm gonna chop the spinach up to add it to my muffins. You don't, just because you have a recipe doesn't mean you have to follow it. You can follow portions of it, and you can swap things out that you do have or that you do like. Maybe you don't like broccoli, or maybe you don't like ham. Maybe you don't eat pork. Okay, well, you could totally do this with something else. You could do turkey. You could do a lot of things. You could just omit the meat if you don't want that. But, you know, like I said, I don't have broccoli right now, but I have, in the salad mix, it has a lot of baby spinach in it. So I'm going to pull some of the baby spinach out, and I think that's going to be delicious in the omelet. And that's how you steward well. That's how you can save on your budget. It's by doing those things. It is by having a pantry that will have real ingredients, real salt, some spices, some quality oil. If you use butter, that you have vegetables, whether you're using frozen, or even if you're using canned or fresh, or canned that maybe you grew and canned. Those are so important, and you can make a lot of things. And the sooner you can get yourself off of a lot of the packaged meals, packaged foods, you're gonna be so much better off. You're gonna be nourished well, and you're gonna be honing in on your skills in the kitchen. And the more you do it, the better things taste. And the better you get at it. And then you will not be afraid to try things where maybe you get a recipe and you take the time and you're working it and you're like, this isn't going right. I had that. I had earlier this week, I had put up a cookie recipe. I was doing this one, it was on nut butters, and I have an abundance of nut butter, and I was trying to use a jar of it up, and it didn't look like a cookie dough. And so I wasn't really sure how it was going to work. But see, I've cooked enough and been in the kitchen enough that I was totally okay with adding flour. I'm going to switch it up. I'm going to add chocolate chips. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. out that we came up with a delicious cookie recipe. But that was just because I'm very comfortable in the kitchen, because I've been in the kitchen, because I've been cooking for a very long time. And the last thing I will say is, don't overthink it. Like, don't go so grandiose. Start with things that you're pretty good at, that your family likes to eat, and then maybe add one new thing or revamp something if you have leftovers. And like, for instance, my kids love turkey tacos. It is a weekly staple in our house. Now, I could go without having turkey tacos, but my kids would be upset because that's just like one of their favorite things. So one of the things y'all seen, I will get, if I can get a good deal on the meat, I'll do it and freeze it up and have it ready to go. That's a great way, so that you know dinner's going to get on the table, it's quick, it's ready to go. But the other thing I'll do sometimes is I'll make extra and I'll put it in the fridge, and a few days later I'll take that taco meat that's already seasoned up, and I'll cook up some brown rice, and we'll do kind of like taco bowls, or we'll do nachos, or so that works really nice on like a Friday night or Saturday night when everybody's kind of coming at their own time. And you know, and I might have a little leftover chili that I froze because we didn't eat it all, and we'll just do like this little nacho thing. There's just so many little things like that that you shouldn't discount, and that's why it's so important that you check your fridge, you check your freezer, you check your pantry, and that you're moving things through. And as you're moving things through, hopefully you're catching those deals and those things that you're replenishing on the backside. And it's just a process, and you keep it going. And you try to stay in the routine. The last thing I would say is make sure that you have something worked in where you can have a day off. Everybody, sometimes they just need a day off. And you may think that means, oh, we're going to go get drive-through, takeout, whatever. That's expensive. Your kids won't die if they eat granola for dinner, or a couple eggs, or a grilled cheese. It's just the truth. And can of soup, or a can of chili, or hot dogs and chili, or whatever that they can do themselves. If your kids are still small, you could still do something pretty easy like that. So anyway, I just hope that this might encourage you and help you if you're feeling a little bit discouraged. Maybe you're feeling a little worried, just because everything's crazy expensive right now, and it doesn't look like any of that's going to change anytime soon. And so you want to be thinking about these things. And the last thing I want to say is, you have to take that money that you save by doing these things, even if it's 20 bucks, whatever it is. You have to take it out, put it somewhere else. I physically like to take the cash and I put it so that I have my little cash stash because then I know where that's at. And if I have the cash, it's a lot harder to spend that cash than if it's just sitting in an account oh yeah, we could go do this, because the money's just sitting there. If you don't see that money, as far as anyone knows, that money's not there. And so I hope this might encourage you. So now let's move on to this quick recipe of our muffin, and I'll link this recipe in the description, because I'm just really switching out the vegetable and the meat. So I'm going to use everything else, except I don't have reduced fat milk, I have full fat milk. So there's that. But anyway, I'm going to get these things put together. Because I'm putting egg in it, I'm going to go ahead and spray it with some coconut oil. So I've just used this one. This is supposed to make, 12 muffins. And it says 2 muffins are a serving. So if you wanted to portion them out so that they are someone can just grab a bag out of the fridge, then you could totally do that. It calls for 8 large eggs, which I have. My 2 older Golden Comets lay really large eggs. Matter of fact, they've gotten so big that they don't fit in like the Tractor Supply egg cartons with my other ones. So I typically don't sell these. We eat them. 8 large eggs, half a cup of reduced fat milk, 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt, 1/4 of a teaspoon of ground pepper, 3/4 of a cup of protein, 3/4 of a cup of vegetable, 6 tablespoons of shredded cheese, and you can put some chopped chives on top. I did not have this, so I didn't do that. I'm just going back the ones that maybe didn't get as much of the egg. I don't want to overfill it, but I want them to have enough. And like I said, this recipe was developed for diabetics. So if that is an issue for you, or maybe you're pre-diabetic, this would be a wonderful, wonderful start to your morning. Or like I said, lunch. They do recommend that you pair this with a pear, an apple, some berries to round out the meal. But that looks pretty good. And so we're going to put these in the oven. I'm going to bake these, it says, for 20 to 25 minutes. You're going to let them stand 5 minutes in your pan before you remove them, and then you can put them on a cooling rack, and once they're completely cool, then you can refrigerate them in an airtight container for up to 3 days, or you can freeze them for up to a month. And so that's what we're going to do. So I'll show you how they look when they come out. Oh my goodness, guys, look how great those look. And I think those are going to pop right out. Those look so delicious. I've got my last little sandwich here I'm putting together. These are the other ones that I've already made. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to try that. So anyway, with that, I hope that you found value in this, and I hope that it blesses you. And with that, I'll see you next time. Bye.